Liverpool have beaten Midtjylland by 2-0. Meyer was very close to, or Dreyer indeed, was very close to equalising. Salah sealed the points with that penalty. Here is the table. Atalanta and Ajax 2-2. Ajax were leading by 2-0, but Atalanta made a comeback there. So Liverpool have 2 wins out of 2. And next week it's Atalanta at home to Liverpool. Kenny, we normally, I suppose, talk about 10 points as the target for teams to qualify for the next round of this. So they've got 6 on the board. Do you think that was a good night's work for Liverpool? I
think it was in some respects, Darragh. I spoke about the importance of getting the 3 wins in quick succession in terms of restoring kind of confidence going forward. 6 points first 2 games. That's absolutely fantastic. But I think if you break it down, there wasn't a huge amount of aspects of the performance individually. And from what I saw, like in certain partnerships around the pitch, that I was overly impressed with, to be honest with you. I mean, Gomez, Robertson in the back four, very indifferent performances. Alexander-Arnold, probably their best defender. Up front, they're a little bit dysfunctional, not a lot of cohesion, a lot of kind of substitutions came and went. They rode their luck on the second half. So ultimately, yeah, a good night for Liverpool. But I think when you break it down, wasn't a huge amount of things in terms of the performance, which I must say I would have been delighted with.
Yeah, like Stephen, even Kenny using the phrase Liverpool rode their luck against, you know, the Danish champions. With all due respect to them, they're like outside the top 100 in the UEFA list. They're the way they rank the clubs. This shouldn't have been a contest.
No, it shouldn't have been. Liverpool had more than enough quality on the pitch to put this game to bed early on. They were sloppy throughout most of it. At points they showed some glimpses of good play, but for a lot of it they gave the ball away in bad areas. They gave them opportunities against a better side with better finishing. They would have been punished. They're lucky enough to come away with a win, and maybe it's just a game they draw a line on and get on with, because there is 3 points on the board. They're not probably going to pull the bones of it, but I think they'd be disappointed with the overall performance.
OK, let's look at the Jota goal, which put them ahead after 55 minutes. Their 10,000th goal in all competitions. The first one was scored in 1892. Not even you remember that, Kenny, but let's have a look at the goal.
I don't know. This is a great bit of attack and play from Liverpool. The link-up play between Alexander here and Shaqiri is absolutely fantastic. Just lends it to Shaqiri. Bit of disguise on the return pass, Darragh. Great way to pass, and it's a simple touch from Jota. But look at Jota. I love the way he's moving here. He looks to get it in the inside left channel, Darragh. Doesn't he? Knows it's been switched to the other side, but look at him. He stays active. He stays in contact with the 2 Liverpool forwards, sensing there might be an opportunity for him to get himself a tap in. Look, he's leaning forward there. He's sensing he's going to drive towards that 6-yard box. That's great attacking instincts. Saw something similar on Saturday against Sheffield United, actually, from the opposite side. Mane getting a cross in from the left-hand side. He was operating off the right on that occasion, but getting himself off the shoulder of Enda Stevens and getting himself a headed goal. So that's a great thing to see. He's great in 1v1 situations, but when the ball's over the other side of the pitch, doesn't switch off, gets himself involved, is prepared to attack that back post, and he's going to get himself goals.
And Stephen, the second one, like, did you think it was a penalty, Paulino's foul?
It was tight, and it was a minimal of touches, but Salah's gone down, you're running towards goal, he's probably going to score, but again, the pass from Trent Alexander-Arnold is just sublime. He was the best attacking option throughout the whole game. Anytime he got forward, he was good in the ball, but this pass was excellent, and you know, it's a slightest of touches. Good penalty from, sends the keeper the wrong way, but for me, the pass from Alexander-Arnold that makes it.
Yeah, for sure, OK. Kenny, you know, you look at Midtjylland and the sort of pedigree that they brought in. This is their first Champions League campaign, losing 4-0 last week against Atalanta. They had some seriously good chances in this match to at least get 1 goal. At one point, they created more chances in the match than Liverpool did.
Yeah, absolutely. I give them a lot of credit, showed a lot of character, a lot of resilience, never threw in the towel, kept persevering, made substitutions, just kept pushing forward. Darragh, even this second half, never got dispirited. I was really impressed with their overall contribution. Don't overcomplicate the game here. Just put it into a dangerous area. Shouldn't be getting a shot off here. Is back to goal, but great improvisation. But again, kept going forward. This is like more of a hopeful kind of cross-field pass. Liverpool give it away in a dangerous area here. But here's this kind of press that we're talking about, not backing off, and a better pass there, and they've got themselves in a 1v1 situation.
You can tell, though, a lot of the chances came from Liverpool being sloppy and giving the ball away. This here is a bit of decent play, gets a cross in. I think he's in the middle of halfway first. I'm not too sure what he's doing with the header where he can put it on target, but for me, you know, a lot of it came from Liverpool not tracking runners, not defending properly, not being in place, and against better quality opposition, they'd be punished. This was an unbelievable chance to go through, and towards the end of the game, Dreyer again, who had 1 or 2 chances in the first half, scored a great goal against Slavia Prague and probably should hit the target here. But for me, it was more down to the fact that Liverpool were gifting them opportunities. They were giving the ball away and they were allowing them to pass them around them. They just weren't a cohesive unit as we normally see.
Kenny, what were your issues with the Liverpool substitutions? Now, you did react here in studio when we saw Minamino and Origi go off. Why?
I was good for the 2 players. I've got to be honest with you. They've had no game time this season in the league or Champions League. They've had an opportunity this evening. They've been played out of position for me first half. Origi on the left wing, Minamino as a 9. He rectified that at half time. Origi played high up the top and Minamino just off second half. They got 15 minutes, got the opening goal, and all of a sudden, whoosh, you're off. That must be so dispiriting for those 2 players. The fact they didn't overly impress in that first 60 minutes, Dara, for me, haven't had enough game time. They're rusty. So how do you solve that? You're not going to solve them with taking them off the pitch. You've got to play their way into a little bit of form. And they're in control in that game, Liverpool. No reason for me to bring those players on. Klopp had a rant at the weekend in terms of the Premier League and the Champions League. The amount of games that his players have to play, the demands put on his players, disrespectful to his players. The likes of Salah, Mane, Firmino, 50 games plus more they'll have to play this season. Well, he has the perfect opportunity to rest him for the whole game tonight. What does he do? He throws him off the bench for the last half an hour for no reason. And at the same time, for me, just kind of mentally, just kind of punches those other 2. You can see their body language coming off the pitch. Very disappointed. And they'll be getting on that private plane tonight, Minamino and Origi, really disappointed with themselves and on a real downer. And he should have given them the opportunity for me in that last half an hour to play themselves into a bit of form and to finish the game on a little bit of a positive from a personal point of view.
How did you read it, Stephen, when the 2 of them were taken off?
To be honest, I think it shows how disappointed he was in the performance by taking them 2 off. I think if they'd performed well and kept the ball, got themselves in the positions against what is a team that they should be able to score goals against, create opportunities. You know, if there's a game where you feel like your 2 centre forwards can come into it and actually impose themselves, so it should be against Midtjylland, realistically. So for me, he was making a point. He was basically telling them, you haven't done enough tonight.
Rusty, the things that you were talking about there, we spoke about the first half, you showed a few instances, first touch, ball getting away from them, just ball getting caught between their feet. That's what it is, literally rustiness. Haven't had enough kind of game time. You've got to play your way through that, Darren.
But it is about opportunities. You know what it's like in football, you don't always get loads and loads of opportunities to press. And Origi, don't get me wrong, he is a cult hero with the club, goals against Everton, Barcelona. But you get an opportunity against lesser opposition.
You've got to keep your players happy, Steve.
But you should be able to perform on that level against that team.
You should do. But you've got to keep those players on the periphery of the squad happy. The spirit in that dressing room has to be good. Those players who aren't going to play a huge amount of game time, you've got to get them in the right kind of headspace. They've got to feel part of it as if they're playing their part. I don't think that helps those 2 players this evening.
OK, guys, thanks very much indeed. I'm afraid we're straight out of time, but that is it from us this evening. My thanks to Kenny and to Stephen for their company here in studio tonight.